Are we ready?
Wait, oh, you gotta leave. What do you want me to say?
I think we're on accord of it. I'll send you like the letter that we're putting in. Or
Okay.
actually, it might even be on there.
Oh, okay. Let me see if it's on here. Okay, sure.
Yeah. If not, hold on. I got it right here. Who are you? MJH on here.
Johnson Hostler.
It won't let me type it. It
M.
keeps.
Johnson. There we go. No, that's not me. Gosh, Hostler. There's a lot of Johnson hyphenated.
There we go. All right.
I never do that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. All right, if we could all take our seats. We have a lot of important stuff on our agenda tonight, and let's go ahead and get started. Good evening. Today is Tuesday, May the 7th. It's about 5:40. I'm Chris Haggerty, Chair of your Board of Education. We're going to call this meeting to order. I want to welcome everyone who's watching us today over our live stream, and for those of you who have joined us here in person. Wake County Board of Education meetings are conducted for the purpose of carrying on the official business of the school system. The public is invited to attend board meetings to observe the board as it conducts its official business. Persons who willfully interrupt, disrupt, or cause disturbances at an official meeting may be directed to leave by the presiding officer. Members of the audience should show respect for the speakers by refraining from loud comments and other disruptions. Disruptions by any person or persons of a public meeting will be subject to action in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 143-318-.17. All right, then. I note that we do have all members present, and we do have a quorum. So if you are able, please rise, and we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. So we will begin our meeting with comments by our superintendent, Dr. Robert Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll start off by saying that we know that teachers and instructional assistants, they are certainly the lifeblood of any school district, are certainly ours, and so I want to start out tonight by recognizing a number of our faculty and staff that have received some really great awards. I'll start, of course, with Ryan Berglund, our Sustainable Agriculture Academy teacher at Millbrook Magnet High School, who was last night named the 2024 Wake County Public School System Teacher of the Year. Absolutely. Yes. Mr. Berglund's passion for his students and for this profession shines through, and I'm inspired by the unconventional path he followed to become an educator. He worked as a welder and equipment fabricator before joining the teaching staff at his alma mater, Millbrook, in 2019. As a young student, he was diagnosed with dyslexia and received extra support to address that challenge. Mr. Berglund's work ethic, extensive on-the-job experience, and his personal belief that all students can succeed has made him a remarkably effective teacher. He has helped implement the Supervised Agricultural Experience Program at Millbrook, providing more than 350 students each year with real-world work experience. Students in the program have started businesses, worked with local agriculture enterprises, and created their own service programs. Mr. Berglund's successful transition to teaching should serve as a reminder that job experience in other fields can be a major asset in the classroom. So I hope anyone considering the teaching profession will see him as a super example. Mr. Berglund, along with all this year's Teacher of the Year finalists and semifinalists, offer models of excellence that inspire their students and their colleagues alike. We are indeed fortunate to have thousands upon thousands of teachers who, through their expertise, compassion, and energy, bring out the best in their students. So again, my thanks to Mr. Berglund and those who choose this noble profession is certainly impactful. We had our Teacher of the Year celebration last night, and I can tell you that was one of the major highlights for me as superintendent of Wake County Public Schools, to really celebrate those teachers that have risen to the top and have been selected by their colleagues. It was truly a great event. I also have the honor to recently recognizing the Wake County Teacher Assistant of the Year, Hope Danita Lee from Holly Springs High. So let's give her a round of applause. She was named the winner out of 10 finalists selected by the Wake County Teacher Assistant Association. At Holly Springs, Ms. Lee supports the Occupational Course of Study program, which prepares students with disabilities for post-graduation employment. Ms. Lee's principal, Robert Morrison, wrote this in his nomination letter. When our OCS teacher is absent, Ms. Lee teaches the class and does a commendable job taking on all duties of hers and the lead teacher. She treats all her students like they were her own. I believe the best quality of Ms. Lee is the strong relationships she builds with our OCS students and other students throughout the school. This commendation underscores the vital role instructional assistants play. By supporting both their students and the lead teacher, they ensure all students get what they need to overcome any obstacles and thrive. So again, my thanks and congratulations to Ms. Lee, her fellow finalists, and all of our hardworking instructional assistants. I will say to every parent that can hear my voice, instructional assistants are a vital part of the work that we do. They are one of the hardest working groups in our school district, and we couldn't do this work without them. As we celebrate all the work, great work happening in the classroom, it's also important that to do all we can to cultivate the next generation of educators. That's why I'm thrilled to report that the 10th cohort of the Wake County Public Schools Future Teachers Program is the largest ever. That's 48 students committing to the teaching profession following graduation from college. I do think that deserves a round of applause. I do. So we have a special event on May 2nd where those students signed early conditional hiring agreements with our district. So, we're going to get our hands on them real early if we can. Students in the Future Teachers Program receive annual summer professional development stipends starting the summer after their freshman year of college. They also receive opportunities to develop professional networks with the Wake County Public Schools staff and peers. Upon completion of their teacher education degrees and meeting eligibility requirements for state teaching licenses, they are guaranteed, I'll say that again, they are guaranteed job offers for teaching positions in Wake County Public Schools. So it's very heartening to see young people eager to pursue teaching careers. No doubt they had more than a few outstanding teachers who inspired them to follow in their footsteps. So my hope is that these future teachers will one day inspire some of their own students to become teachers. So best of luck to these 48 students. We look forward to having them here in Wake County. I will say that we know the teaching profession is dealing with a lot of challenges, but this lets me know that people continue to want to be a part of this profession. It's just great to see our young people committing their lives to such a noble profession. Finally this evening, congratulations to two of our magnet schools for receiving the highest national distinctions awarded by Magnet Schools of America. I'm going to say that again. Well, I described this to my wife as going to the Oscars, and there's the Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Motion Picture. I said, we got two of the top 3 awards, so you choose which one you want it to be. So Athens Drive Magnet High School received the Dr. Ronald P. Simpson Magnet School of Merit Award of Excellence, given annually to the top magnet school in the country. And Conn Magnet Elementary School received the Donald R. Waltrip Magnet School of Merit Award of Excellence, denoting it as the second best magnet school in the nation and the nation's top magnet elementary school. Absolutely, absolutely. So again, Athens Drive Magnet High School was recognized for its innovative programs in medical sciences and global health initiatives. The school's magnet theme integrates global health issues into the regular curriculum, helping students hone their problem-solving skills and bringing real-world relevance to essential academic standards. Students also may choose to join one of 3 pathways in the school's Health Science Academy to gain deeper knowledge and hands-on experience in medical sciences, emergency medicine, or animal sciences. Conn Magnet Elementary was honored for its innovative design thinking curriculum. Entrepreneurial design teaches students to think like entrepreneurs, to take risks, explore new ideas, identify potential improvements, and think critically about innovative solutions. So for decades, our Benton programs have served as a national model, offering unique educational experiences while promoting diversity. So these two major awards serve as yet another reminder that our place as the national leader in high-quality magnet schools, it is secure. So congratulations again to these students, the families, and the staff at Athens Drive and Con on these well-deserved honors. Mr. Chair, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. And Dr. Taylor covered a lot of the wonderful celebrations that we got to take part in. Since the last time we met, it was wonderful. The Teacher of the Year recognition is always so wonderful, and to hear the stories of all of our finalists were all very, very inspiring. And again, the instructional assistants, boy, they know how to put together a celebration, don't they? That's always a wonderful event, and we look forward to it every year. I don't know if we've talked since then about the Community Engagement Summit that we had at Athens Drive High School. That was a wonderful event. I know many of the board members were able to attend. We saw so many folks, great resources in the community that are out there for parents and families, many connections people might not have been aware of. A lot of great discussion about just things we can use to improve student and families' academic performance, their relations with the school, and just really great to bring people together for an event like that. We do have, in addition to all the wonderful news, we did have some sad news recently as well. You've probably seen it, and for our students, I want to respect the family's privacy. We had a student that we lost who had attended Ligon Middle School, and a student from SCORE Academy who also has passed recently. And then you've also probably heard Dr. Elizabeth Battle, one of our principals at the Wake Early College North, has also passed away. And I'd just like us to take a moment of silence and honor their families in their passing for a moment. Thank you. Vice Chair Johnson Hostler.
Thank you, Chair. Again, I like your analogy, Dr. Taylor, that we'll call it now we have to get our wares together, though, for these red carpet events. But again, congratulations to our Teacher of the Year. Many of you know my daughter attended Millbrook, so they always say, once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. So congratulations. And I'd be remiss if I did not bring up the great work that our IAs do. And many of us know how long our educators stay with us, but every year I'm amazed at the number of instructional assistants, or for some of you, TAs, teacher assistants. There were more than a handful that have been IAs for us for over 30 years. And again, it is a grand affair. They take a lot of time to pose on those beautiful stairs at Prestonwood. So again, another grand affair, but again, just an acknowledgement of how hard and how dedicated our staff are, and hopefully that resonates to our community of the importance of our staff and employees to us through our budget priorities, which we will get to later this evening. The other highlight, Mr. Hershey, I'm sure you will speak to this as well, if not this week, next week, our next board meeting, but it is spring sports. And so congratulations to all of our athletes. A special shout out to our South Garner High School tennis, men's tennis. They are the number 1 and 2 seed players, or actually members, and I see our Office of Equity Affairs staff in here. They are members of Helping Hand, and I think I got the opportunity to meet them, and there's a picture of me. I don't know what they were saying, but my head was thrown all the way back laughing. But again, I think it's very important because representation matters, and their coach also looks like them. They're young African-American males, and I think it's important to lift that up, especially in the month of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. And many of us as board members have been trying to work with our community partners, as suicide is now the 4th leading cause of death between our young people's ages 15 to 29. And the number has significantly increased over the last, literally skyrocketed over the last 10 years for African American boys and girls. And so think that's important, that we show our kids another way, and representation absolutely does matter, especially in this month of May, but hopefully we always remember that. And to that point, we had an amazing NASA aeronautical engineer visit our young people at Vandora Springs. And again, thank you to our community members who made that possible. I had a couple of local pastors reach out to me, very excited that they're able to share in bringing people who reflect our student population to our schools. So in addition to our students having access, it is also important, another opportunity for our community to continue engage as we talk about our community engagement partnerships across the district. Lastly, I'd be remiss not to say, and I almost forgot it, the Willow Spring High School, which as you all know is my newest high school in my district, their JV and varsity teams placed in the state cheerleading division. You also know I'm a cheer parent, so I almost left them out, so congratulations to them as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Johnson Hostler. We'll go around the table. Mr. Hershey?
Thank you. It's funny that you brought up sports, because I was thinking about how I was about 3 months from giving my annual "Please be nice to officials" as we start, because we're getting ready for football officiating already. I'm going to take this moment, instead of kind of listing places I've been or I'm going to, I want to talk real quick about some advocacy work. We have our legislative agenda, which I very much appreciate the board putting together, my colleagues putting together, staff putting it together. It's an excellent document. It gets into a lot of issues we face at the state level. But one came up recently, so I want to just share a story, and I'm sure everyone has heard about it. Has similar stories. I'm sure our principals have gone through this with teachers, but at one of the schools in District 6, I was talking to a young teacher, less than 3 years experience, who was licensed in another state, moved here, and they weren't notified. They were supposed to be notified at least in September about requirements to that they're going to have to, that they'd have to go through to get a North Carolina license. Let me just read what they currently have to do. Currently, an educator with an out-of-state license with less than 3 years of teaching experience, plus all elementary ed and special education teachers, regardless of experience, have to complete additional testing and ed TPA and PPAT portfolios in order to convert to a North Carolina license. Educators with at least 3 years of experience in another state can use comparable testing. So this particular teacher was not properly notified on time by DPI as they're supposed to be. They made the request to please find the email that DPI said that they had sent. DPI could not find it. We are losing this teacher because they do not have time to get their North Carolina license now. And this is a problem as we face staffing issues in schools across the country, but particularly here in North Carolina. And it's my understanding that districts do not get copies of the requirement letters that educators get from DPI, which is absolutely bizarre to me. You would think, one would think, I would think, that it would make sense for DPI to notify our HR department when they are sending out letters to our teachers so we can follow up and make sure that our teachers received it, that they have the support that they need to go through the process to convert to a North Carolina license. And I'm highlighting this for all the reasons I said. We're losing a teacher. I've heard other principals speak to this problem. I've heard that I'm sure this is not the only teacher in our district that is going through this, but it didn't come up before we put together our legislative agenda. I'd like to make sure that we have it for next year, and I hope the news media picks up on this kind of thing, because this is a problem. We cannot lose teachers because they are not properly notified and there's no grace period given to them when they are not properly notified, and please notify the districts so we can be on top of it as well. That's all I have for my comments. I will speak more to the budget at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hershey. Dr. Ring.
Good evening. First, I wish to express my condolences for the loss of one of our own, Dr. Elizabeth Battle. She was the principal of North Wake College and Career Academy, and she passed away unexpectedly last week. I did not really get to know her very well, but I felt the need to pay my respects and to attend the celebration of life this past weekend at her church. It was a really beautiful service, and Dr. Battle's impact on the community was quite evident because that place was filled, and they had to go to an overflow room to accommodate everyone. I heard about how much she loved her family and how much passion she had as an educator. She was the founding principal of North Wake College and Career Academy, and it was clear from my tour of the school last year that she was in charge of something very special. Because of her leadership and her high expectations, the students there have a unique combination of confidence, drive, and purpose that I don't see very often. In fact, the students that I spoke with and they gave me a tour, personal tour, they all had a clear path of what they want to do after graduation. And that is the testament to the great education they received there, and it is Dr. Battle's lasting legacy to the Wake County Public School System. So please pray for her family during this time of loss, as well as for her school community while they press on without her. 2 weeks ago, District 3 held its BAC meeting at Northridge Elementary School. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, Ms. Allison Reed was unable to give the talk on artificial intelligence. But I want to thank Dr. Taylor to step in at the last minute to help me out. He gave us a thorough overview of the legislative agenda that we had recently just passed, and I believe everyone came away with a better understanding of the priorities we have set, as well as the steps needed to communicate those priorities to our lawmakers. And I would like to thank Principal Schillings for hosting the meeting and the Northridge Elementary PTA for providing the meal. We will be working this summer to plan the BAC meetings for the upcoming school year, and we will definitely bring back the topic of artificial intelligence in a future meeting. This week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and it is fitting that we had our Teacher of the Year banquet last night to honor all the teachers that were winners at their individual schools. But I was ecstatic to find out that Ryan Berglund from Millbrook Magnet High School was named the Teacher of the Year. As Dr. Taylor had mentioned about his unique talents, a few months ago, I had actually a chance to meet him during a tour of the school and to see what he does with his students. And I can see why he won the award. He had this enthusiasm which was infectious, and he makes learning fun. He is the only agriculture teacher in the state that not only teaches welding, but also is certified welding inspector. So under his mentorship, 64 students have become certified welders. So it was really inspiring to hear how he overcame some learning disabilities as a child, and how he pressed on with his schooling even when others didn't believe he stood a chance. Eventually, because his teachers believed in him, he found his talent in the trades. And more importantly, he found something he enjoys doing, and then he made it into a career that he loves. And instead of accepting a higher paid job in California, he decided to stay and get a training to become a teacher. He's really such a good role model for our students to show that you do not have to be limited by your life circumstances or by the box that people put you in. The fact that our Teacher of the Year this year is a CTE instructor shows that success in life does not always mean becoming a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. I know many people with advanced degrees, including myself, wish that I was more handy and that I could do some stuff around the house, or have a skill that I can fall back on when I get older. And in this day and age, the technical careers are just as valuable, if not more valuable, to the growth of our local economy. I know that they had a big celebration for him this morning, and I wish I could have been there, but Millbrook is truly blessed to have him. And because it is Teacher Appreciation Week, I want to thank all the teachers who sacrifice so much of themselves to teach the children of this county. I share with my colleagues in our commitment to help increase teacher pay in a difficult economy. We are taking a vote on the budget, but this is really just the first step. In the coming weeks, as we present our budget request to the county commissioners, I urge everyone to reach out to your county commissioner to advocate for our public school students. On my end, I am committed to working towards increased transparency and accountability in how we use our financial resources as well. And finally, I encourage everyone to be familiar with our legislative agenda so that we can all communicate to our state lawmakers the urgent need to invest in our teachers and to support public education. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ng. Ms. Edmonds.
Thank you. Dr. Ng, thank you for mentioning your BAC because mine is in a week and I didn't have that on my notes. So let me say that the District 5 BAC will be on Monday, May 13th at Dillard Elementary School at 5:30 p.m. Happy Teacher Appreciation Week to all of our teachers out there, all of our educators. We value and appreciate you so much. Athens Drive. Y'all can't see, but I'm wearing the Athens, well, you can see the blue, but I've got on orange shoes too, so I'm representing. I congratulate certainly every single magnet school in this district, District 5, outside District 5, that will be recognized this evening and that won these prestigious honors. But I'm a former Athens mom. Our son graduated from there in 2015, and it is very close to where I live, like that's our neighborhood high school. So I'm just over the moon, and I celebrate with all of you tonight. I've been to Vernon Malone College and Career Academy twice in the last week, once for their signing day where students were awarded with $500 scholarships to Wake Tech, honored with special recognitions and signed job offers from local businesses in construction, nursing, and cosmetology. I was back at Vernon Malone yesterday for the unveiling of a race car built by students. And these students got to do this with a grant in the STEM field because so many of the aspects of mechanics and the auto industry are STEM related. And these students were able to make those strong connections to build this race car. Staff were sure to point out to all of the adults in attendance that the race car is not drivable. But one of the teachers climbed in through the driver's side window and started it and revved the engine and ran it for, it was really cool. So I'm so glad that they welcomed me to join them. And just, this is another of many hands-on trades education that is happening at Vernon Malone College and Career and also in so many other places across the district. As several people have mentioned, Mr. Berglund, our Teacher of the Year last night, teaches in CTE, which I think is just extraordinary. And I'm so thrilled that we get that added attention to his leadership and his contributions to our district. I want to thank all the staff and the students and the volunteers who hosted the Community Engagement Summit that took place on April 27th that Chair Haggerty mentioned. Hopefully this will become an annual event, and there were great breakout sessions and lots of good conversations that took place. I will just say a little bit on the budget and make other comments once we get to that part of the agenda, but I do want to mention right now that regarding this proposal that we're voting on tonight, we've all seen that the county manager proposed last night a number that's lower than even what the superintendent had proposed, but I am still committed to the ask that we are making this evening, and I think it's timely I think it's timely that we are voting on this budget during Teacher Appreciation Week. Because I think that our ask represents our genuine appreciation of teachers and educators, and not just because of the supplement. As I've said during recent work sessions and board meetings, our job is to advocate for what our students and teachers need, and I believe that's what we're doing here. This budget is a representation of our values, the values of this board, and I've heard unanimous support around higher teacher pay, recruiting and retaining bus drivers, keeping building subs, and ensuring our schools have support staff to support student mental health and well-being. This budget communicates our district needs to the public, to the business community, and to the community at large, not just to the commissioners. And I believe that that is our role and our duty, to communicate these needs through the budgets that we put forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mahaffey.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. I want to congratulate again our Teacher of the Year finalists and our Teacher of the Year, Mr. Ryan Berglund, and a huge thank you to Mr. Terry Hennings for representing WCPSS so well over the past year. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I am so grateful to the professional educators that choose to work in the Wake County Public School System. I continue as a board member and as a parent, as a former teacher, to be in awe of our teachers. Our teachers continually plan lessons, grade assessments, review and implement IEPs and 504s, get ready for state check-ins and state assessments. They do data dives on student growth, meet with their PLCs and with parents. Teachers balance addressing social emotional needs with meeting academic rigor. They cover for their colleagues when they're out and there's no sub. They continue professional development to work on their craft and their pedagogy. They communicate with families. They work with school counselors, and I hope they maintain a life out of work. I said I hope. That is just a fraction of what a teacher does each and every day. I'm sure I missed at least 800 things in that small paragraph. So again, to our teachers, I say thank you. Thank you for teaching in the Wake County Public School System, and thank you for all you do each and every day for your students.
Thank you. Next up, Ms. Rice.
Good evening. I'm excited. District 4 students are on fire with student excellence and national achievements. It could not happen without excellent educators guiding them. And just like everyone said, it is Teacher Appreciation Week, which is one of the highlights in my family's time, where we like to try to give a few extra little gifts when we're at home. I want to say thank you to every educator in our district. You are appreciated, you are valued, and you are honored. I also want to ditto that I am committed to funding our teachers and staff within the Wake County Public School System as we continue with our vote tonight. I want to share this great news about Southeast Raleigh High School being named a Project Lead the Way Distinguished High School. Project Lead the Way program celebrates districts and schools committed to unlocking student potential. Project Lead the Way empowers millions of students across the U.S. to unlock their potential by developing the in-demand real-world knowledge and skills necessary to thrive in life beyond the classroom. Project Lead the Way also distinguished program recognition celebrates districts and schools committed to helping students own their education by increasing student access, engagement, and achievement in their Project Lead the Way program. Also, I told you we're on fire. Enloe Magnet High School will honor 3 amazing Enloe scholars for their contribution to the National C-SPAN Student Cam contest. They independently sought out the opportunity to communicate and collaborate with their peers to display their exceptional creativity and critical thinking skills. Their video submission was one of 1,600 entries from 42 states and D.C., with over 3,200 students participating. The video earned them an honorable mention and a $250 prize. So you might want to find Enloe and go watch that video, because it was really amazing. I was very impressed. I also want us to be reminded that it is, no, one more thing. District 4 will also host our BAC meeting on Monday, May 20th at Conn Elementary School at 6 p.m. I also want to remind us that it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I will focus on the emotional wellness dimension out of the eight dimensions of wellness. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for ages 10 to 14 and 20 to 34. More than 1 in 5 U.S. adults live with a mental illness. Over 1 in 5 youth ages 13 to 18, either currently or at some point during their life, have had a serious debilitating mental illness. About 1 in 25 U.S. adults live with a serious mental illness, such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depression. I want to encourage someone to be the difference by becoming a mental health first aider. Check on one person you know once weekly, okay? And just only ask and affirm. Ask, how's your emotional wellness today? And just affirm to say, it's okay to say how you really feel. I want us to remember yourselves, remember self-care. Remember to take 60 seconds daily to breathe throughout your busy day and overwhelming challenges. When life starts lifing, let's do 60 seconds.
All right, thank you, Ms. Rice. Ms. Caulfield.
Thank you. And I will definitely have to remember to do those 60 seconds. I might need to tie a string around my finger. So I need to speak up and address several things. Several times it has been said or suggested at this table that someone may not belong at this table because they share a different opinion. The last I checked, we live in a democracy where people exchange thoughts, ideas, and values, and elected officials are those that are chosen by their people to speak on their behalf and advocate for them, and are the ones that have those conversations and bring them to the table. So to say that I or someone else does not belong at this table or should go somewhere else because I don't share the same opinion or 100% agree with the statements that are being made, that belongs in a different type of authoritarian organization, hopefully not like what we would have here. Perhaps it is not allowing these diverse thoughts and those equitable voices and inclusive conversations that we find ourselves in a position where we would want to seek elsewhere as their choice. So we don't want others to seek other places as their choice. We prefer them to be here at Wake County. It would be careless for me not to ask questions about what I am approving, whether it be a grant, an organizational structure, or efficiency, or if and where we choose to allocate our funds and our priorities. How would one make a decision without fully understanding all of these things and asking questions? And they are not always clear. There's good conversations that have come since my term just being on this board, lots of changes or direction that have caused change. And it comes from all of our questions, everybody here at the table that is asked. So I'll continue to ask those tough and challenging questions because the answers help us make the best decisions possible, or perhaps open conversations that need to be had. And that doesn't mean that somebody's doing a bad job, but should we never question if we are doing something that could be a better job? My goal here on the board that I was chosen to serve is to advocate for our community and make our public schools their number one choice. We have incredible teachers and staff, and we can do that. Our decision-making is implementation and consistency will allow our teachers and staff to thrive. I think that is what all of our constituents are wanting from us. I think they want to be heard, they want to be valued, and they want to be a part of our team, the team that is constructed to educate their children and prepare them for the outside world. That is our sole purpose of being here. So my voice, their voice, is very important at this table, whether it agrees with a fellow colleague or not. They all have the right to be heard. So I will continue to speak for all of our community and what they say is important to them. And I thank you to all the voices that stay engaged with me and hope that I do not hear comments like this again, that some people here do not belong because they share something different or add another part of the conversation that may have value. So on a lighter note, happy Teacher Appreciation Week to all those amazing teachers out there. There are so many and endless things to recognize, but we know you, that you are out there. We see you, we need you, and we value you, and glad that you support our students each and every week. Also, please recognize that some of those schools that we have out there do not have PTA representation. So if it's all possible, whether you can just reach out to them to show or send something to them to show that you appreciate all that they do. This last week, Lake Myra Elementary School had their Leadership Day. I was honored to be invited by Principal Ballard and staff, and I cannot explain how well of a job that they all did. One quote that left an impact is, "Leadership is a choice, not a position." Our students were amazing as they took on roles to lead us through the whole afternoon. It was very impactful, and the entire school was involved in the event where the students showed off their leadership abilities and navigated us through the school. They shared their talents and all the wonderful things about Lake Myra and all the awesome clubs, and the students were engaging in their 7 habits of highly effective people. They were articulate, and each one of them was glowing with pride and leadership. So well done, Lake Myra. This is Teacher Appreciation Week, and I would like to give a shout out to one of District 1 finalists, Ashley Smith of Zebulon Magnet School, along with April Gensler, and I hope that I am pronouncing all of these names right, and if not, I apologize. She's from Lakehart Elementary School, and a special congratulations to all of the finalists, and Ryan Berglund, if I'm saying that correctly, of Millbrook High School, who won Teacher of the Year. I also want to recognize the first year Teacher Award 23-24 Diane Kent Parker winners, Peyton Pooh of Forestville Road Elementary School, Anna Armstrong of Wendell Magnet Middle School, Essence Morgan of Nightdale High School, Peter Westerbeck of Nightdale High School. Congratulations to all, and lots of love happening up in District 1. So I wanted to take the opportunity to share their names specifically, but not to take away from all the amazing teachers throughout Wake County Public Schools. And speaking of love for District 1, before our meeting today, I was invited by Principal Bradford of Wake Forest Middle School to congratulate and celebrate in a ceremony for Rachel Gade, one of the 5th graders of Wake Forest Middle School, alongside her amazing AG teacher, Miss Emily Leisure. DC C-SPAN, Rachel Katz, was there to honor Rachel Gade as the winner of the annual middle school and high school student C-SPAN CAM documentary competition. That's a mouthful. There was 3,200 students, 1,600 prizes, and Rachel was one of 30 middle schoolers. Her documentary was on the sea rise effects and their role it plays on the environment. She went above and beyond, and it was a well-deserved win. Wake County is proud, as District 1 is proud, and Wake Forest, to have her represent us as one of our future leaders, I'm sure. So way to go, Rachel. And one thing I'd like to add is the amazing support that not only the teacher and Wake Forest Middle School provided to Rachel, but also the emotional and amazing recognition that Rachel gave to her father and her family for their support and helping her reach the goal and reaching success in her reward. It was very emotional for everyone there, and to see the gratitude that this beautiful 5th grader had for her father's involvement and how much it meant to her was just incredible. I was sitting alongside Dr. Council, and she could attest to how impactful that was. It does take a village, and she had a great support system. And even more so, her classmates were so supportive and lifted her up, and it was just an awesome moment. So that is what it takes. It makes this job. I'm getting my tongue tied because there's so much to say. So that is what makes this job so special, is seeing the amazing things our children accomplish and learn along the way. It took grit, determination, inspiration, support, and resources, and her hard work was well recognized. I look forward to seeing what Miss Rachel will do, because I know that's not going to be the last time that we see her for sure. Last Thursday was a very eventful, to say the least. So just to recap, it was wonderful to join Wake Med and Poe Health to discuss smoke-free communities and work that is being done to provide education and resources around our community. We continue to partner with Wake Med surrounding mental health and resources for our family. There was another great ribbon cutting that they opened up Wake Brook over by Wake Med. And there was another great event that they recognized an Enloe student campaign that created a club for their community and their school. So love to hear and see all of these leaders. After that, I was able to celebrate the ribbon cutting ceremony for Wake Tech East. It was an unbelievable community turnout, and the amount of people that were there to celebrate the opening and partnership of this school was amazing. This is also located in District 1, so I'm excited about the future and opportunities that will come from this. So I wanted to touch base on the budget real quick, since I know that that's one of the main rules of the board. The main roles of the board is governing our money. I received a lot of feedback myself, as I'm sure all of our colleagues have. My colleagues have. And the main focus is supporting our teachers and bus drivers to get the kids to school safe and to get the classroom and teacher support that is needed for not just the retention, but also education. My main focus with the budget is making sure that we have the best support in our classrooms. We already know that we have amazing teachers, and for those of you that have children in Wake County Public Schools, you may also know that we have some of the most amazing staff in our schools. This affects our students each and every day. Last week, we had a work session, and we discussed some of the items that needed to be a priority, and I agree with Ms. Edmonds, the teacher pay, increasing our bus drivers to $20 an hour so they're more at market rate, building subs, which supports our staff and our children in every school, along with some other mentions. I recognize that the costs continue to rise, and there continues to be a need to give our teachers more support, which also means recognizing behavioral supports in their classroom. I'm encouraged to hear that we will evaluate the efficiency of our organizational chart for the next budget cycle. And as I started my comment about the budget, it is our duty to make sure that we are spending wisely, efficiently, and in ways that serve our classroom the best. I look forward to that discussion. And I asked that last year that we bring the budget in a little bit earlier, so I was thankful that our staff did that. I know that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I just really wanted to give a shout out to them for answering our very many questions in a lot of detail and giving us all the information that we did. Knowing we're the 15th largest in the nation, the largest in North Carolina, it's a pretty big task. So, and finally, I wanted to also acknowledge Dr. Taylor, because he's relatively new to this role and jumped right into a 100-day plan, and then came back with the budget. So I know that is quite a task. But I want to recognize that he's always has a willingness to have open conversation about all of these topics. And I appreciate his willingness to always be there to listen and to offer feedback, but also hearing our feedback as well. So thank you. And that's all my comments.
All right, thank you, Ms. Caulfield, and that will bring us to our closer, Mr. Swanson.
Thank you, Chair Haggerty. I am going to eliminate some of my comments for this time's sake and just say Happy Teacher Appreciation Week to all of our educators across the district who work every day to enhance the lives of our students, our families, and the Wake County community. So we see you, we honor you, and we thank you, not just this week, but every day for your dedication to our students and to our communities. I had the pleasure of attending Green Hope High School's economic and personal finance class to participate in their annual campaign building events, where students get a campaign, they get to run their campaigns, and myself, Board Member Mahaffey, a couple other local electeds served as campaign advisors to the students as they built a campaign and ran their campaign. And some of the great things that they brought up was very fascinating, and I look forward to hopefully seeing some of those young leaders sitting some of these seats. Last week, Chair Haggerty and I had the pleasure of joining the students at Wake STEM alongside special guests, Secretary Sanders and Governor Cooper, as they discussed careers in offshore drilling. I will save my budget comments when it's appropriate, when we bring that item up. And so, again, to this week, to our teachers, Happy Appreciation Week. Thank you, and that's my comments.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson. At this point, we would need to approve our agenda, so I will entertain any motions.
So moved.
Second.
A motion for Ms. Johnson, Vice Chair Johnson Hostler, a second for Mr. Swanson for approval of our meeting agenda. All board members in favor of approval of the agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our agenda is approved, and then that allows me to begin our recognition items. We have 2 special recognition items today. For the first, I'll recognize Kim Lane with our Magnet leaders.
Thank you. Good evening, Superintendent Taylor, Chair Haggerty, Vice Chair Johnson Hostler, and board members. I'm really excited to be here tonight to recognize our Magnet and early college high schools, recognize that the 2024 Magnet Schools of America National Conference as MSA Schools of Excellence, Schools of Distinction, Certified and Demonstration Schools, and to recognize the MSA Region 4 Principal of the Year and Teacher of the Year. And we have an elementary poster contest winner with us tonight. Before I get started, I do want to give a shout out to our student from Southeast Raleigh Magnet High Schools taking photographs tonight, so we appreciate that. And I want to say a special thank you for remembering Dr. Elizabeth Battle, our friend and colleague, and a very special Magnet educator, so thank you. I would be remiss to say that at Centennial Campus Magnet Middle School last Wednesday, we were talking to the astronaut at the International Space Station, so we go out of this world at some of our schools. All Magnet schools share the philosophy of executing innovative programs with a dedication to diversity and an unwavering commitment to academic standards. Magnet Schools of America Merit Awards elevates that standard to recognize member magnet schools or programs, there's about 4,300 of us across the nation, that demonstrate an exemplary commitment to academic standards, curriculum innovation, desegregation and diversity efforts, specialized teaching staffs, and parent and community involvement. Last month at the national conference, 48 of our 61 magnet schools were recognized with awards. And the only reason there weren't more is some of them aren't eligible to apply. District schools were honored with, last year, we had 3 schools that were named the top schools of excellence. This year, we're taking Dr. Taylor's word here and leveling up. We had 14 schools of excellence. Last year, 8 were named schools of excellence. This year, we had 13 schools of excellence, with 21 of them named schools of distinction. I'm going to tell you what that means in just a second. For schools to receive a National Merit Award, our magnet coordinators, principals, and their teams must submit a detailed application that is scored by a panel of educators. These schools are judged and scored on their demonstrated commitment to those academic standards, curriculum innovation, successful diversity efforts, and consistent delivery of high-quality educational services to all interest parties. Magnet School of Distinction Awards are given to magnet schools that have met all of the requirements outlined in the Merit Award scoring. Magnet Schools of Excellence Awards are given to a select group of magnet schools that have demonstrated the highest level of excellence in all facets of the Merit Award application. Top Magnet Schools of Excellence are given to the top 24 schools of excellence, and these schools are eligible for site visits and dollar awards in some cases. So this year we had 3 schools that were visited on site, Fox Road IB Magnet Elementary School, and 2 other schools that we might talk about in a minute. To become nationally certified, MSA member schools must submit a detailed application and participate in a rigorous evaluation conducted by the National Institute for Magnet School Leadership. Cohorts begin every August and run through the following June. This year, WCPSS had 8 schools who were recertified. Certification lasts for 4 years, and 8 schools who were newly certified. Of those recertified or newly certified, 7 of those received certification demonstration school status, which means when folks are looking for schools to visit across their nation, they're sending them to us. Before starting with the roll call, I would like to give a shout out to the Magnet team who supports our Magnet School leaders in this work. And a special thank you to Dr. Lisa Thompson, who's here tonight, who coordinates the MSA Merit Award process, and Josh Hunter in the back, keeping everybody in line, who coordinates the MSA certification process. And a big thank you to the entire Magnet team that serve all of our schools day in and day out. Thank you, Team Magnet. Woohoo! Tonight, we will present our awardees with an honorarium, which is a certificate and a lapel pin. They actually get plaques, and they receive those at the national conference. And this is just representative of our appreciation of their work. As you've mentioned, it is Teacher Appreciation Week, but it's also Teacher Appreciation Day. So we are really celebrating in style. At this time, I would ask Dr. Taylor to come up and help present certificates to our awards. And Paul Domenico, Dr. Thompson, Tamani Anderson-Powell will help me recognize our MSA award winners, because I don't think I could talk that long, and our schools that have earned certification demonstration status. We will call the schools alphabetically by regions, because we also want to give a shout out to our area superintendents who help us greatly in support of this work. So I will ask Paul to come forward.
Thank you, Dr. Lane, and good evening. Our first area tonight is the southern area. The area superintendent is Dr. Ashley Thompson. And we have Lincoln Heights Environmental Connections Magnet Elementary School. They are recognized as an MSA School of Distinction, Principal Scott Gayton, and Magnet Coordinator Lauren Michael. Next, we'll go to our eastern area. Area Superintendent, Dr. Mark Savage. Our first school is Hodge Road Spanish Dual Language Magnet Elementary School. They are MSA School of Distinction, Principal Felicia Dorsey, and Magnet Coordinator Alan Arrowwood. And next we have Wendell Magnet Elementary School, Academy of Design and Creative Arts. They are recognized with the MSA certification, recertified as an MSA certified school. Principal Dana Doherty Premiano and Magnet Coordinator Sarah Downing. Our next area is the northwestern area. Area Superintendent, Mr. Cedric Williams. Our first school is Stow Mandarin Language Immersion Magnet Elementary School, recognized as a MSA School of Distinction. Principal Jody Lay and Magnet Coordinator Jenny Zhao. And next we have the Wake Young Men's Leadership Academy, recognized as an MSA School of Distinction, Principal Xavier King, and their Assistant Principal Kevin Murray. Then we have the Wake Young Women's Leadership Academy. They are recognized as an MSA Top School of Excellence, and they are newly certified as an MSA Certified Demonstration School. Principal Mariah Walker and Magnet Coordinator Sharon Cuffey. Our next area is the northeastern area. Area Superintendent, Dr. Valencia Council. Our first school in the northeastern area is Brentwood Magnet Elementary School of Engineering. They are recognized as an MSA School of Excellence. Principal Melissa McKinley and Magnet Coordinator Kristen McBride. Next, we have Fox Road International Baccalaureate, PYP, Magnet Elementary School. They are recognized as an MSA Top School of Excellence. Principal Jacqueline Williams and Magnet Coordinator Megan Peterson. They cannot be with us, so next we'll go to Joyner Center for Spanish. Yes, congratulations to them. Next, we have Joyner Center for Spanish Language IB PYP Magnet Elementary School. They are recognized as an MSA School of Distinction and a newly certified as an MSA Certified School. Principal Jennifer Zeza and Magnet Coordinator Cheryl Davis Jackson. Then we have PAL, Center for Play and Ingenuity, Magnet Elementary School. They are recognized as an MSA Top School of Excellence, and they are newly certified as an MSA Certified Demonstration School. Principal Dr. Curtis Brower and Magnet Coordinator Kristen Lawrence. Our next area is the southeastern area. Area Superintendent, Mr. James Overman. The first school in the southeastern area is Smith International Baccalaureate PYP and Spanish Immersion Magnet Elementary School. They are an MSA School of Distinction. Principal, Ms. Beverly Smith, and Magnet Coordinator, Kurt Carlisle. Next, we have East Garner International Baccalaureate MYP Creative Arts Magnets Middle School. They are recognized as an MSA School of Distinction. Principal Sharon Fennell and Magnet Coordinator Dr. Taika Sabino. Next, we have Garner International Baccalaureate Middle Years Career-Related and Diploma Program, Magnet High School. They are recognized as an MSA School of Excellence and are newly certified as an MSA Certified School. Principal Matthew Price and Magnet Coordinators Gerald Simmering, Amy Bennett, and John Sherwin. Next, we have Vernon Malone College and Career Academy. They are an MSA School of Distinction. Principal Carter Hillman and Magnet Coordinator Jill Oliver. Next, we have the Wake Early College of Health and Sciences High School. They are recognized as an MSA School of Excellence. Their principal is Lisa Cummings, and they are represented tonight by Assistant Principal Vanessa Harris and Magnet Coordinator Myra Wilcox. Next, we have the Wake STEM Early College High School. They are recognized as an MSA School of Distinction. Principal Dr. Drew Ware and Assistant Principal Sophia Overdeep. Our next area is the Western area. Area Superintendent Dr. Tammy Sexton. The first school in the Western area is Athens Drive Center for Medical Sciences and Global Health Initiatives Magnet High School. They are being recognized as an MSA Top School of Excellence. Principal Amanda Boshoff, Magnet Coordinator Terrell Hartenstein, and teacher Elizabeth Luna.
Champions, you guys.
Next, we have Dillard Drive Center for Global Studies and Spanish Language Immersion Magnet Elementary School. They are recognized as an MSA School of Excellence, and they are not here this evening. The principal is Roxanne Sykes, and Magnet Coordinator is Marie Gusky. Sometimes you improvise. Next, we have Dillard Drive Center for Global Studies and Spanish Language Immersion Magnet Middle School. They are an MSA School of Excellence. Principal Margaret Feldman and Magnet Coordinator Jessica Nelson. Next, we have East Cary Center for Global Studies and World Languages, Magnet Middle School. They are recognized as an MSA School of Excellence, Principal Dr. Nakaya Davis, and Magnet Coordinator Takesha Badeau. Next, we have Farmington Woods International Baccalaureate PYP Magnet Elementary School. They are being recognized as an MSA Top School of Excellence and were recertified as an MSA Certified Demonstration School. Principal Winston Pierce and a Magnet Coordinator Anna Goodrum and Allison Williams. Next, we have Kingswood Montessori STEM Magnet Elementary School. They are recognized as an MSA Top School of Excellence, and the principal, Ms. Sherry Sleeser, and Magnet Coordinator Michelle Gensler are not here. Do we have any teachers from Kingswood? Okay, so want to make sure we did it right. And our final school from the western area is Reedy Creek Magnet Middle School Center for Digital Sciences. They are recognized as an MSA Top School of Excellence, Principal Tim Chadwick, and Magnet Coordinator Christine Sachs. Thank you. I will now turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Lisa Thompson.
Good evening. So I will be starting with the northern area schools, and they are led by Area Superintendent Chris McCabe. And our first school is Brooks Museum's Magnet Elementary School. They are an MSA Top School of Excellence, Principal Marie Palmer, Magnet Coordinator Amy Whitman. Carroll Leadership in Technology Magnet Middle School. They are an MSA School of Excellence. Tina Zarzecki, Principal, and Julie Klein, Magnet Coordinator. Douglas Creative Arts and Science Magnet Elementary School. They are an MSA School of Distinction. Principal Tiffany Faison Bullock. Magnet Coordinators Marcia Hefner and Mary Scott Peterman. Green Leadership and World Languages Magnet Elementary School. They are an MSA School of Distinction. Principal Leslie Blake, Magnet Coordinator Tricia Seymour. They cannot be with us this evening, but we congratulate them. Jeffreys Grove Spanish Language Immersion Magnet Elementary School. They are an MSA Top School of Excellence. They are also newly certified as an MSA Certified Demonstration School. Maria Ventura, Principal, and Joanna Gonzalez, Magnet Coordinator. Millbrook Environmental Connections Magnet Elementary School, MSA School of Distinction. They are also newly certified as an MSA Certified School. James Aldridge, Principal, and Randy Jones, Magnet Coordinator. Millbrook International Baccalaureate Middle Years and Diploma Program Magnet High School. They are an MSA School of Excellence. Principal, Dr. Brian Saunders. Magnet Coordinators, LaShonda Haddock and Lauren Barron. North Wake College and Career Academy. They are an MSA School of Excellence. Dr. Elizabeth Battle, Principal. Represented today by AP Shannon Lacey Gardner and Magnet Coordinator Sherilyn Murray. West Millbrook International Baccalaureate MYP Magnet Middle School, MSA School of Distinction. Principal Kelly Amon, and Magnet Coordinator James Bullenbacher. This concludes the northern area, and we will now be moving into the central area. Central area schools are led by Area Superintendent Dr. Elena Ashburn. A.B. Combs Leadership Magnet Elementary School is an MSA School of Excellence. They are also recertified as an MSA Certified School. Julie Sexton, Principal, Tracy Tothrow, Magnet Coordinator, and they are also represented by Alexis Strager Jones, their Student Body President. Broughton Global Studies Language Immersion Magnet High School is an MSA Top School of Excellence. They are also recertified this year as an MSA Certified Demonstration School. Janice Diltz, Principal, and Dr. David Brooks, Magnet Coordinator. Bug Magnet Elementary School Center for Design and Computer Science. They are an MSA School of Distinction. Dr. Anise Williams, Principal, and Monique Booker, Magnet Coordinator. Carnage Gifted and Talented AIG Basics Magnet Middle School. They are an MSA School of Distinction. Principal is Dr. Eric Rosen. Magnet Coordinator, Angela Parham. Conn Magnet Elementary School of Entrepreneurial Design. They are an MSA Top School of Excellence. Gabriel Chittister, Principal, and Dan Gridley, Magnet Coordinator. Enloe Gifted and Talented International Baccalaureate Diploma Program Magnet High School. They are an MSA School of Excellence. They are recertified as an MSA Certified Demonstration School. Principal, Dr. Jacqueline Jordan. Magnet Coordinators, Nate Barlick and Lisa Thompson. Fuller Gifted and Talented AIG Basics Magnet Elementary School. They are an MSA Magnet School of Excellence. Gerald Hernandez, Principal, and Magnet Coordinator Laura Thanos. Hunter Gifted and Talented AIG Basics Magnet Elementary School is an MSA Top School of Excellence. They are also recertified as an MSA Certified School. Principal Jared Moore and Coordinator Jennifer Johnson. Ligon Gifted and Talented AIG Basics Magnet Middle School. They are an MSA School of Distinction. They are also recertified as an MSA Certified School. Principal Gary Duvall and Magnet Coordinator Megan Retzik. Martin Gifted and Talented Magnet Middle School is an MSA School of Distinction. Principal Marla Mondora and Magnet Coordinator Claudia D'Alessio. Moore Square Gifted and Talented AIG Basics Magnet Middle School. They are an MSA School of Distinction. They are also recertified as an MSA Certified School. Principal Leslie Taylor, Magnet Coordinator Lauren Michael. Oberlin Global Studies Language Immersion Magnet Middle School is an MSA School of Distinction, Principal Brianna Pelton, and Coordinator Christine Hayner. Partnership Interactive Community Magnet Elementary School. They are an MSA School of Distinction. They are also newly certified as an MSA certified school. Jeffrey Kimbrough, Principal, and Mary Hunter Martin, Coordinator. Poe Gifted and Talented AIG Basics Magnet Elementary School. They are an MSA Top School of Excellence. They are also newly certified as an MSA Certified Demonstration School. Principal Christine Story, Magnet Coordinator Alexis Lisenby. I feel that I missed mentioning that Partnership is a newly certified as an MSA Certified School. Did I say that? I think I might have missed that, but you need to know that. Underwood Gifted and Talented Magnet Elementary School is an MSA School of Excellence. Principal Ann Wechter and Magnet Coordinator Heather Callahan. Washington Gifted and Talented Magnet Elementary School is an MSA School of Excellence. Mary Catherine Burnett, Principal, and Amy Wilkinson, Magnet Coordinator. Wiley International Studies Magnet Elementary School is an MSA School of Distinction. Principal Tracy Avery, Magnet Coordinator Alina Neves. This concludes the central area, and I would like to welcome Dr. Lane back up to the podium. It's actually Tamani. Oh. Tamani. Please welcome Tamani Anderson Powell.
Thank you. Good evening. So first, let's give everybody another quick round of applause. Yay. So I'm going to present, or it gives me the honor to present, the Magnet Schools of America Teacher of the Year for Region 4. Region 4 includes North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, and international territories. The Teacher of the Year and Teacher of the Year Award annually recognizes an outstanding, dedicated full-time teacher who exemplifies excellence in academic achievement and executes innovative programs that promote equity and diversity for students in magnet schools. They inspire students of all backgrounds and abilities to learn. This year, we'd like to honor Elizabeth Luna, there she is, from Athens Drive Magnet High School as the Magnet Schools of America Region 4 awardee. Congratulations. The Magnet Schools of America's Principal of the Year Award annually recognizes outstanding school leader who has succeeded in providing innovative programs that promote equity, diversity, and academic excellence for students in magnet schools. Tonight, we honor the Region 4 Principal of the Year, selected by her colleagues to be submitted to the Magnet Schools of America. Then awarded the Regional Principal of the Year honors, Winston Pierce, Principal of Farmington Woods Magnet Elementary School. And my favorite award is the MSA hosts a poster contest annually to showcase student talent and to see magnet schools through their vision lens. Hugest congratulations to Rita Safwan, who is a second grader at Washington Magnet Elementary School. Rita's family is also here, so we'd like to invite her mom to come up and take a picture. Yes, come on up. And her teacher, is Miss Drum here? She's not here. All right. Thank you. Dr. Lane?
Okay, we're getting there, Dr. Taylor. Last but not least, I should say, Magnet Schools of America awards 6 Best of the Best awards annually, with the top 2 awards named after previous Magnet leaders. As you've heard tonight already, and I won't read any more information about these schools since you have heard Dr. Taylor talk about them and we've been celebrating them here, but please give a round of applause to the Donald R. Waltrip Magnet School of Merit Award of Excellence to Conn Magnet Elementary School of Entrepreneurial Design. Principal Gabriel Chittister, Magnet Coordinator Daniel Gidley. Yep. Now you get the plaque. It's worth having them come up twice. Congratulations. As they've been saying, that makes them the top elementary school, Magnet Elementary School in the nation. So, the second award is a Donald P. Simpson Magnet School of Merit Award of Excellence, and it is the most prestigious award for all of our magnet schools. And this year, it's been awarded to Athens Drive Center for Medical Sciences and Global Health Initiatives in Wake County Public Schools. And their wonderful principal, Amanda Boshoff, Magnet Coordinator, and Liz certainly is joining them there too. Thank you, Carol. Congratulations. So, Dr. Taylor, I have a question for you. We appreciate your support and for challenging all of us associated with WCPSS to be a national leader of the work we do for students, families, staff, and our community. Does this qualify?
This qualifies.
Thank you, Dr. Lane. Thank you to all the principals, magnet coordinators, APs, and students who joined us tonight to celebrate these wonderful, wonderful recognitions for our magnet program. We know the wonderful, rich history our magnet programs have, and we see the results every day. I'm very excited for the next item on our agenda. I know some of us got to attend the ribbon cutting for the big renovation at Fuller Elementary, and we got to hear an awful lot about their first principal, Alfred Perry. And we have a special recognition tonight for the naming of a thoroughfare through the Fuller campus in honor of Principal Perry. So I'm looking around to see which of our esteemed staff, if it'll be Mr. Hernandez or Dr. Ashburn. Dr. Ashburn will join us and get us kicked off. So thanks everyone for joining us, and let's get on with the show.
Good evening, Superintendent Taylor, Chair Haggerty, and other members of the board. It is with great joy that I introduce this evening Principal Jared Hernandez, Principal of Fuller. He will be sharing details regarding the request for the naming of the main drive at Fuller after the school's very first principal, Mr. Alfred Perry. Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent Taylor, Chairman Haggerty, and esteemed board members. On behalf of the Fuller Magnet Elementary School community, I stand before you to express a heartfelt and unified request. With profound respect and admiration, we propose the naming of the access road on our campus stretching from State Street up to the front of our school building as Alfred Perry Way. Mr. Alfred Perry holds a sacred place in the history and hearts of our school community. As he was the founding principal at Fuller, his dedication, leadership, and unwavering commitment to educational excellence have profoundly impacted generations of students, educators, and families, as you can see. Mr. Alfred Perry's lineage is steeped in education, with his mother and sister both serving as esteemed educators. Beginning his career as an 8th grade teacher, Mr. Perry's journey led him from Pantego, North Carolina to Raleigh, North Carolina, where he taught 6th grade at Mary E. Phillips Elementary. He was appointed as principal of W.H. Fuller, the last school built in the Raleigh City school system, and he served from 1962 to 1971. During his tenure, amidst segregated educational landscapes, Mr. Perry forged strong community partnerships and witnessed remarkable academic growth evidenced by significant achievements in student state assessment scores. In October 2022, Mr. Alfred Perry graced the Fuller Magnet School community with his presence during the 60th anniversary ribbon-cutting ceremony. This milestone marked not only the school's six decades of existence, but also its inaugural year in a new facility, symbolizing the enduring legacy of Mr. Perry's leadership within the Fuller community. As the principal of Fuller Magnet, I affirm that both the school and Fuller PTA are committed to ensuring any financial implications associated with this renaming are responsibly managed through our approved PTA budget. Additionally, as a poignant reminder of Mr. Perry's enduring impact, we note that he will be celebrating his 91st birthday tomorrow on May 8th. This milestone serves as a testament of his lifelong dedication to the education and further underscores the significance of the commemorating of his contributions through the naming of Alfred Perry Way. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration of our proposal and for your unwavering dedication to the advancement of our public schools. At this time, I would like to recognize Ms. Perry, Mr. Perry's wife, with a few words that she would like to share.
Welcome, Ms. Perry.
Mr. Superintendent Taylor and board members, Ecclesiastes states that there's a time and place for everything. So tonight happened to be the time and place that Wake County is recognizing my husband. So on the behalf of my husband, Alfred C. Perry, who has been a patient at Rex Rehab for the past 4 months, I want to thank the Wake County Board for recognizing his contributions a day before his 91st birthday. My husband always said his time at Fuller School produced some of the best students, staff, teachers, and community. I want to thank the students and teachers and parents and community because together they have made Fuller one of the most best schools in the city of Raleigh at that time. The school tested that group of students, and they tested so high that they sent someone from the board to retest them, and they did even better. Just look at these. I am so grateful and humbled to accept the recognition of my husband on the behalf of the community. Please continue to motivate the students to do their best. And I want to congratulate the magnet schools and the teachers, because those are important too. And every day is a good day for teaching. And I appreciate you. Having been a former teacher and recognized as Teacher of the Year also, I know what it means to be. It's late, but it's never too late to say thank you, and may God continue to bless our schools and continue to bless the minds and the training that goes to make everything work together. So I would like to, at this moment, I know it's late, but it's never too late for the train to come. So for those of you who came to support the Alfred C. Perry at the Fuller School during that time, would you please stand? As my husband would say, the best is yet to come for Fuller, because Fuller is in good hands. Thank you, and God bless you.
Well, thank you, Principal Hernandez, and thank you, Ms. Perry. The next item on our agenda just happens to be consideration of naming a thoroughfare on the campus of Fuller Elementary in honor of its first principal, Mr. Alfred Perry. So at this time, board members, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion from Ms. Toshiba Rice. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Vice Chair Johnson Hostler. All board, and I'd like to, let's get a roll call on this. I'd like all board members in favor of this to signify aye when your name is called. Mr. Hershey.
Aye.
Dr. Ng.
Amen.
Ms. Edmonds.
Aye.
Ms. Mahaffey.
It's not too late. Aye.
The chair is proud to vote aye. Vice Chair Johnson Hostler.
An old-time aye.
Mr. Swanson.
Absolutely, yes.
Ms. Caulfield.
Aye.
And Ms. Rice.
Aye.
And I know if Mr. Malone could, he would as well.
I would just say this, I actually went to Fuller. He was my principal. I could not be happier. This is an absolutely great day. Thank you, guys.
Right there, the leadership that comes out of that school is obvious, and all of its impact on our community. Please go back to Principal Perry and convey our sincere thanks for all of his service to our community. This naming of the road is just one of the ways we can honor him, and I think, as you've seen here, we're all happy to have done that for the benefit, I believe. And also, Superintendent tells us we want to make sure to wish him a happy birthday. So with a unanimous vote of the board, it is done. Thank you all so much. And we'll take just a brief break. I know not everyone, as we've been reminded, it's late and may not want to stick around through the end of the meeting, but we'll resume in about 5 minutes. Thank you all.
Take care, okay?
Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Yeah. I heard a lot of good things about you. I know it's a short time, but you'll spend together. Oh, I know. You know, she was supposed to figure out.
I would not have missed this for any, and it's just so happened that one of the seniors that's in the group with her told me about it today. I had no clue anything was happening, and I called her to see if it was okay if I came. She didn't answer the telephone. I said, well, I'm gonna come. She just has to be mad at me. It'll be okay. Yeah, but like I was telling him, I had my boys went to Fulbright, my grandchildren went to Fulbright. So, I mean, I just had to be here.
Everybody back together? Yes. We're now moving on to our public comment period. Speakers commenting on items on the night's agenda will be heard before speakers commenting on other topics. All other speakers will be heard in order of sign-up. As we remind everyone, only the person speaking at the podium will be able to stand, and everyone else should remain seated, so please take your seats. If you do have to leave the room, please do not remain in the building, as only this room is open to the public after hours. If public comment portion of the agenda exceeds 30 minutes, board policy states that the chair reserves the right to consider other board business before inviting the remaining speakers to the podium. Concerns related to personnel issues, student matters, and related things may be addressed through applicable at WCPSS personnel policies, the grievance policy, and are not appropriate for public comment. In the interest of maintaining civility and decorum, speakers are encouraged to address their comments to the Board of Education and must refrain from personal attacks and insults directed at the board, individual board members, staff, and members of the public. Please remain at the podium during your speaking time. Any materials you wish to share with the board may be handed to the board attorney, Mr. Malone here, either before or after your comments. During your comment, you may speak for up to 3 minutes. The microphones are adjustable. When you begin to speak, that's when your time will begin. The green light will light up, showing that your time has begun. A yellow light will light up, and you'll hear an audible tone when there are 30 seconds remaining in your time. When your speaking time is up, you will see a red light and hear a final audible tone. When your time is up, this next speaker will be called. So please respect the time limit and speak for no more than your 3 minutes. So at this time, we look to our on-agenda speakers first. We don't have any student speakers tonight, so we'll first hear from Brittany Griffin, followed by Jessica Matthews.
Good evening.
Good evening.
When does it start, now, or when I start talking?
Once you see that green light, it's going.
Okay. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm new to this.
You can start.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. Again,
There
I
you
am
go.
Brittany Griffin. I am a 7-year bus driver. To my NCAE family, to my Wake County family, thank you all for being here. You guys are awesome. And I appreciate you all. For those that could not make it here tonight, I am them. I will be their voice this evening, and I wear my red proudly. The reason for me being here this evening is to discuss the $20 minimum starting rate for all drivers. I do feel that in this present time of inflation, we deserve a livable wage. We are not asking for another raise because we do understand that asking for another raise could potentially cause for you all to have to cut monies from special programs, special education, something as serious as, school nursing, etc. With granting the $20 per hour, we could possibly cut down on drivers having to work at Amazon in the evenings, or like me, I normally, on the weekends, I'm a PCA, I don't have parent time. And other large companies. What I would like for you all to also understand is that it is not safe for our workers to drive or work a third shift job and have to get up in the morning and drive those children to school while trying to create a livable wage that we are not receiving at this time. I know of a coworker who is presently 2 years shy of her retirement. However, she is presently working 3 jobs, and she is unsure if she's even going to be able to retire in 2 years because of her limited Wake County salary. I know we are bus drivers to some, but to many kids every year, we are the bonus parents, we are the auntie, we're the uncle, we're the godmama, we're the counselor, we're the confidant, we're the go-to. We're the Miss Brittany, I forgot my lunch money, do you have? Just because I may not have it, but I reached in the bottom of my pocketbook to give it to them. You know what I'm saying? We are sometimes the love that the students lack at home, because everybody does not go home to love. With the $20 wage change, it would ensure that we're able to continue to support our students throughout the school year. Oh, I did that quicker than I thought I would. I'm sorry, y'all. But at the end of the day, I started at Broughton 2017. I came back for my kids. I didn't come back for the money. But at the end of the day, again, we are y'all's backbone. We need y'all to support us the way we support y'all and the way y'all change the rules for us every year. Again, thank you guys for your time. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Griffin. Our next speaker is Jessica Matthews, who will be followed by Daniel Grant King. Welcome, Ms. Matthews.
Good to go?
Go on.
Okay. First of all support to the bus drivers. Thank you again for your statement. My name is Jess Moore Matthews, and I'm proud today to represent the Western Wake Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated on behalf of our president, Vicki Royal, who is representing our chapter at the governor's reception tonight in preparation for Divine Nine Legislative Day. We're an organization of college-educated women committed to the constructive development of our members and to public service with a specific focus on the Black community. Our founder's first act of public service was participating in the Women's Suffrage March in 1913, a legacy we've carried for over a century since. I'm a proud Delta local business owner, college professor, Sunday school teacher, and graduate of Wake County Public Schools, where I once served as student body president at Southeast Raleigh Magnet High School. Go Bulldogs. I now serve as the parent representative on my son's school leadership team, and I come to you today as a concerned parent and community stakeholder to make a statement about public school funding. Last week, I experienced my first ever Code Red notice at his elementary school. And while I know Code Reds are a necessary precaution for keeping our schools safe, it's an understatement to say that receiving this notice was a terrifying experience, particularly for a kindergarten parent who had never seen this sort of message from a school before. Ripped out of the moment I was in and thrust into a whirlwind of horrific images out of Sandy Hook, Uvalde, the list goes on, I immediately called my husband and started whispering prayers through the phone, that's all I could do, as I ran out of the building I was in. I dialed my parents and my in-laws to beg them to stop what they were doing and pray for the school. You see, my son's school, like so many of our public schools, is underfunded. And it's not just because it's an overflow school that accepts new students throughout the year, despite no additional resources. It's because the lack of funding and value placed on roles like his teacher demonstrates a lack of regard for the profession and our children as a whole. You may ask, what does this have to do with the Code Red notice? Well, all I could imagine was my son's teacher, a recent college graduate and first-year kindergarten teacher, not even 25 years old, trying to keep herself and 25 students quiet and calm because her instructional assistant may have been pulled out of the room to help in another classroom, which happens often. It's also about the fact that the lack of funding leads to a teacher shortage, which leads to a very real safety concern in a crisis. When I received the text that everyone was safe and the potential threat in the school's surrounding area had been swiftly handled thanks to our incredible principal and the police department, I burst into a fresh round of tears. This happened right as an unrelated ambulance sped past me in the direction of his school, a sight that probably would have triggered a heart attack a few moments earlier. This Teacher Appreciation Week, we're in a moment.
I'm afraid that's your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Daniel Grant King, who will be followed by Christina Spears. All right, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Board members, Superintendent Taylor, I am Mr. Grant King, and I'm proudly an educator with Wake County and a proud member of our local union and state union of NCAE. And I would like to remind all of us as we are in budget season, of course, I couldn't say it no better. Our state has an obligation to fully fund our public schools. But as I've watched committee hearings and many other legislative sessions at the state level, I begin to see the lack of funding thereof. And you know what's very sad? They want to spend billions of taxpayer dollars on private vouchers. And not only that, they want to put more funding toward the top 1% of our state. So I would like to encourage each of us this evening, for those of us that are in this room, to really hold our state legislatures accountable as you all prepare to go to county commissioners with this budget proposal I would like for you all to also consider raises for our educators. Because I've stated in several meetings prior, without our educators and without the valuable asset to the classroom, where would our students be? Where would our families be? And above all, where would their future lie? So on this evening, I would like to challenge all of us to remember why we are here. And that is to make sure we have fully funded public schools and to turn back the assault on our public schools and making sure that our state fully funds educators, fully funds all aspects of the public schools. Because you can't just say, oh, we're going to do it and then later on don't. So we have to be about it. And we can't just be about it with words. We have to be about it with action. So I am encouraging all of us, as this budget cycle continues, that we would not just pass it by with a blind side, knowing that our educators need funding to live and to provide for their families. So again, thank you so much, Board of Education, and I'm looking forward to these ongoing discussions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Grant King. Our next speaker is Christina Spears, who will be followed by Emily Hooks. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm Christina Spears, a proud Wake County special education teacher currently serving as the Wake NCAE president. I honestly just want to say ditto to what everyone else said, and happy Teacher Appreciation Week. It was nice to kick off the week with some of you last night at the banquet, but I'm going to do some recap. On March 19th, I stood before you to deliver almost 3,000 petition signatures from staff asking for an increase in the local supplement, 4.5% for certified staff, 4% for classified, with a minimum wage at $18 an hour. Wake NCAE members have attended these board meetings to testify at public comment about the importance of increasing employee compensation. In the early morning of Tuesday, April 30th, we organized walk-ins at 8 schools and the Rock Quarry Transportation Complex, showing our unity and solidarity before rallying before school and walking into our buildings together to educate students. That afternoon, you all discussed amending Dr. Taylor's proposal to vote on an option tonight that is close to those petition demands we delivered. A 4% increase to the local supplement and $17.75 an hour, which was still close to what was previously proposed in the multi-year plan. We appreciate your work to increase the local supplement, increase hourly wages for drivers, maintain building subs, and maintain support positions as we transition off of ESSER funding. So strong work to you all. But I'd be remiss if I didn't say staff are concerned about the impact of no more funding for extended care. As we know, the burden of care will be placed on staff in the building as we wait for buses each day. We hope that the school board and district staff will work with administrators who control their school's budget to pay staff more wages for more work. And as promised, we plan to attend the county commissioners' meetings and budget hearings to fight for a fully funded request, especially after Manager Ellis's proposal last night. And speaking of the commission, I hope you all will continue to work with them on a multi-year plan that includes long-term goals for increasing compensation so we can keep up with the cost of living in this county. And I'll close by saying I urge both boards, said this last night, to take a real stance against voucher expansion in this state, beyond a 13-word statement on a legislative agenda that is then handed over to a lobbyist. We want to stand shoulder to shoulder with you and our commissioners as we face the General Assembly together, rather than going head to head with asking you for a few million extra dollars when the General Assembly has billions to offer public schools. So thank you in advance tonight for showing your appreciation to teachers by voting for a final budget request that includes raises for all staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spears. Our next speaker is Emily Hooks, who will be followed by Joseph Deaton. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. So I am back, and I just want to say thank you for listening to us. I know when I was up here in March, I told you that if you don't ask, they can't give, and you were asking them. You were asking the county commissioner to give us more funds so that we can afford to live here. I worked the 3 jobs. Right now I'm missing one of those jobs so that I can be here to talk to you again. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do next, because as part of an NCAE member, we always ask up. So the next thing I'm going to ask you is, can you guys go to the county commissioner meeting on May 21st with us and stand in solidarity so that we can have as many people there as possible to support what you're asking from them? There are 11 of you, and then there's many more people over there and over here. If we can fill that room, it will make a statement. I promise you, I think that with the 3,000 signatures that we gave to you, the walk-ins that we exhibited showed that we mean business and that we need to be heard, and you guys listened. I think the same thing can happen at the county commissioner level. So if you guys can, I would love to see you guys there. Come talk to me after if you want. We can set up some things. Red is the color we're going to wear. So if you don't have any red, I can find something for you. So please take that into consideration. It's May 21st at 7 p.m. Again, I'm Emily Hooks, and I would love to get you guys there with us so that we can stand in solidarity, so I can support you when you guys go to them. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hooks. Our next speaker is Joseph Deaton, who will be followed by Edith Jones. Good evening, Mr. Deaton.
During discussion of private school vouchers at the last meeting, a board member said that private schools were segregated. Let me cite 3 examples so you are better informed. In 1950, the Archbishop of New Orleans declared that Catholic schools could not be segregated. He got such a fierce backlash that he had to excommunicate 3 prominent politicians. He held firm on the fundamental principle that black people have the same eternal telos as anyone else. And this was a significant event well before Brown versus Board of Education. I wonder why it's never mentioned in the documentaries about the civil rights era. The Jesuit High School in Baltimore consistently ranks at the top academically. There were some black students and a black teacher there in the early 70s. 31 years ago, they opened a free tuition middle school downtown funded by charitable donations specifically for underprivileged students so that they would be ready for the academic rigors of the high school. Note that the approach to improve student outcomes is to improve performance at an earlier age rather than lower standards for the high school. And let me tell you, the boys look really sharp in their navy blue blazers and red bow tie like Dr. Taylor. When I lived in Rochester, New York, the city of Frederick Douglass, the founder of the Wegmans grocery chain provided funding for a large number of underprivileged children to attend Catholic schools. The mainly black children were not Catholic, but mostly Baptist, AME, or no affiliation. There is no pressure or expectation for anybody to convert, but the parents were glad for a better education than they were getting in the public schools. Now, we're all here tonight to improve the public schools, but in the meantime, if anyone is unsatisfied, don't let concerns about being a minority stop you from considering a private school, especially a religious one, firmly grounded in the dignity of the human person created in the image of God. Note that you can't even say that in public schools because any acknowledgement of God is banned, even though this is the historical origin of the concept of inalienable rights, universal human rights, long before Thomas Jefferson or John Locke. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deaton. The next speaker is Edith Jones. Is Ms. Jones here? All right, if Ms. Jones isn't here, our final speaker is Amy Williams. Is Ms. Williams here? All right, well, if Ms. Williams is not here, that will conclude our public comment period. Thank you all for your participation, and we will return to our regular agenda, the first item of which is consideration of our consent agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept our consent agenda.
We have a motion. We have dueling seconds. We have a motion from Vice Chair Johnson Hostler, and I'll say a second from, this time I'll say from Mr. Hershey. All in favor of adoption of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the consent agenda has been adopted. So now, we'll turn to our action agenda, and we'll welcome up Mr. David Nieder, who will present two items for us, the first of which is waiver of Board Policy 8101, required for approval of the proposed 24-25 budget. Welcome, Mr. Nieder.
Thank you, Chair Haggerty. Good evening. Good evening, members of the board. Superintendent Taylor. At your March 19, 2024 meeting, superintendent and staff presented the superintendent's proposed 2024-2025 operating budget. That proposed budget invests $32.4 million of fund balance into the budget. The $32.4 million investment exceeds the amount allowed in Board Policy 8101. There's a threshold in that policy that states no more than 50% of the available unassigned or undesignated fund balance should be invested, and the $32.4 million represents just over 61%. As a result, staff is requesting that the board waive Policy 8101 so the board can move forward in considering approval of its proposed budget for 2024-2025. Staff has carefully reviewed the recommendation to invest more than 50% of the unassigned or undesignated fund balance, and we are comfortable in recommending this to you. We have recommended this in the past, both during the Great Recession and during the pandemic, and even in some years other than those two series, for the similar purposes. So I would now be glad to answer any questions and ask the board request consideration of approval of waiving this one component of Board Policy 8101.
Thank you, Mr. Nieder. We'll take the motion first and then ask if there's any questions or discussion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Hershey, a second from Vice Chair Johnson Hostler. Are there any questions for Mr. Nieder or any discussion on the motion at this time? All right, we had a discussion in work session, so I don't think we have any discussion now. All in favor of Mr. Hershey's motion for waiver of Board Policy 8101, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you, Mr. Nieder. We'll turn to the second item, which is consideration of the Board of Education's proposed budget 24-25.
Okay, thank you. The superintendent's budget, which again was presented on March 19th, after that, the board has asked questions about the proposed budget and received staff responses. You've held a public hearing on the budget. You've conducted 4 board work sessions, if you include today's. I think that is the most I've seen any board number of work sessions since I've been with the district engage in. And you are on the cusp of approving a board's proposed budget for 2024-2025. That said, much uncertainty remains into the unforeseeable future as we wait to see what the final Wake County budget will be, and we wait to see what the final state budget will be for this coming fiscal year. The board's proposed budget includes several funding priorities, including compensation increases for all staff to acknowledge we value their work and help us continue to be competitive in recruiting and retaining high-quality employees, maintaining behavioral health support positions, including social workers, school counselors, and school psychologists to support all of our students, maintaining building-level substitute teachers at each of our schools in support of teaching continuity, and going through the final phase of the fiscal transition away from federal pandemic relief funds. The proposed budget also includes an additional funding request of $9 million of the county. And this additional $9 million being requested is a result of a legal obligation of the school district to provide an equal amount of funding to charter school students and the charter schools more particularly in Wake County. So this additional $9 included in the board's proposed budget request to the county, that $9 million is ultimately not for the Wake County Public Schools. While it comes to Wake County, it would go right back out to the charter schools. And this is a result of the increase requested of the county for this coming year, as well as a continuing shift in market share, thus the amount of funding legally required to provide to the charters. These priority focus areas, including transition from pandemic relief funds, required payments to charter schools, and perhaps most importantly, focusing on compensation changes for staff and maintaining key support positions for our students in our schools, provides basis for an increase in county appropriation request included in the board's proposed budget of $63.2 million. The board has waived Policy 8101, allowing to invest more than 50% of the prior year's fund balance into the proposed budget. Staff is available to answer any questions. And then we ask for the board's consideration of approval of your board's proposed budget for 2024-2025.
Thank you, Mr. Nieder. So our board has reviewed the proposal in our work session with the opportunity for questions and discussion there. And so everyone should be familiar with what is included now in the proposed budget. Mr. Nieder, as he said, is available. I see Ms. Kimsey available too here for any final questions. I want to commend all of you for the work that you've put into developing this budget. As Mr. Nieder said, we had a number of work sessions where I thought there was really engaging and in-depth discussion. There were a lot of questions asked, there were a lot of suggestions made, and I appreciate the initiative a lot of you took to go through the budget and find your own suggestions for changes that we could make to produce what we had here. I will say that I think this budget addresses a lot of important needs. There are still a lot of other needs left unfunded, and we discussed those. We have a multi-year plan that we're having to pause key elements and pause the momentum for to address things in addition to teacher compensation, also our facilities and our operations, our informational support technicians, and making additional progress in our behavioral health and support technicians, although I think we did do a good job here in including and prioritizing those positions. We had to set priorities, and the board discussed a lot of different options, and I think we got a package that really does address those key issues. Those key issues being, I think we all heard, was compensation to support our educators and our staff, with a special emphasis on bus driver compensation. You know, we know that ultimately, if we're here for academic achievement and academic excellence, that does not happen without excellent teachers and excellent school staff and students coming to school ready to learn. And so, of all things that we could have put in this budget, of all things that were identified as needs, I think you'll see that we took the two priorities and put them up there at the top. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion from the board.
So moved.
I heard a couple motions. I'll take a motion from Vice Chair Johnson Hostler, a second from, was that Ms. Rice?
Second, yeah.
Ms. Rice. Is there discussion on the budget at this time? Ms. Edmonds.
Thank you. I'll just finish the comments I had about the budget, carrying on what I said earlier. So whether or not we get all that we are asking for, in my view, is not really the point. The needs and the priorities are not going away. They're going to remain as long as state leaders fail to meet the needs of public schools in this state. And we need not be confused about the priorities of leadership in the General Assembly. One of the first actions taken last week as the short session began was a vote to add almost $500 million more into the voucher fund so parents who can well afford private school already can get access to our tax dollars. That's the priority. Not public education, not public school teachers, not public school students. The latest NEA rankings were released last week too. North Carolina is now 38th in average teacher pay, a drop from 36th. Beginning teacher pay in North Carolina is 42nd in the U.S., and we are 38th in per pupil spending. So as long as state leaders continue failing our kids, these local budget asks will continue to look similar to this. I hope the community will support this budget request and work with us to ensure our students and educators have their needs met, and that includes voting for people in November that will support and invest in our public schools. Thank you, Chair Haggerty.
Thank you, Ms. Edmonds. Are there further comments or any further discussion? Mr. Hershey.
Thank you, Chair Haggerty. So the board is aware I will be making a motion after this for the organizational study and for the market salary compensation study. But I just want to take the moment to thank the parents, Wake NCAE, the teachers, the community that advocated for our schools, for this budget. We heard you, we support you, and I will just plead with the county commissioners that we really do need the full 63.5. You know, I had it in my mind we could ask for a lot more, and we understand trying to restrain ourselves from doing that, but this is about the livelihood of our staff. We have to remember that. We know it's a big ask, but these are your constituents, and we need the state government that will not do their jobs. Yep. And that's where we're at. And I believe that the residents of Wake County understand that and will overwhelmingly support you funding the full request that we are making, because they understand, a large majority of them, not all of them, a large majority of them understand that the state is failing our schools by not increasing salaries for our staff. They get it, our constituents get it, our residents get it, our staff gets it. Please, county commissioners, I personally request that you fund the full $63.5 million. I'm sorry, I think it's $63.2 million. My apologies.
Thank you, Mr. Hershey. Dr. Ng.
I just want to be clear. I receive a lot of emails from a lot of teachers and parents, and I did not respond to every one of them. It have taken me a long time to respond. But I really think that action speaks louder than words, and so I'm the things that I proposed for this budget were the removal of the HR positions, and it may be unpopular in some fashion, but it was in my mind a delay of those positions, such so that we can do those studies to really look at the effectiveness of our administrative departments, and so that is kind of a drop in the bucket, in the grand scheme of things, but it was more of in my mind, a statement that we are supporting priorities of the teachers and the bus drivers and people who are going to be working with the students day in and day out, and so that's kind of where I stand, and I hope that you guys will understand that I did not reply to every email that I received.
Thank you, Dr. Ng. Is that one? Any other further comments for the discussion? Ms. Caulfield?
Thank you. I said most of what I wanted to say before, so it was probably a little out of order, but I just wanted to recognize the same thing. We've received a lot of emails, a lot of feedback from our community. I've spoken with a lot of people directly in our community, and they all had the same feedback, that they really wanted the support to go to our teachers in our classroom. And if this is what we need to do to ask, that's what we need to do, because it is most important that we prioritize, like you said, along with the needs that are in our classroom and our teachers. So my vote today is going to be about supporting our teachers and our bus drivers and our classroom needs. And if Mr. Hershey is going to make that motion, I will definitely second it, because I do believe it's going to be important for us to evaluate and just see if we are being as efficient as we could be. And I know that the staff follows direction by the board, so you produce all the information to us to review. But I think it'll open up some really good conversations that we will see what the future holds going for next year. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rice?
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you, staff, for the hard work, the sidebar questions, and my emails and my hour conversations to better understand the budget as my first time. It was a great read, I must admit. I'm sorry, call me what you want, but it was a good read. But I do want to caution not only our county elected officials, but our state elected officials, that there are major implications when we do not support children. We not only create an economic downfall for ourselves, over time we will lose great potential employers because we have not educated the field in which they need. Over time we will find people who continue in a poverty cycle, which puts a burden on our state. And most importantly, it can increase violence. Why? Because when people are in a place of poverty and desperation, they do certain things just to survive. And we have found through our state officials, they have placed millions of families in our state in a place of survival mode, which doesn't allow us to thrive as a state. And so I really want teachers to know that they are supported, that we have fought the good fight to make sure that they could receive as close to what they asked for. And then I continue to say this: we fought, and we need you to continue to fight for our students. We need you to continue to ask for equitable resources and take the trainings that are necessary so that we can have equitable schools and so that teachers can actually utilize their pedagogy in a way that does benefit the ask of the financial increase that we gave. And so I think that it's very important to say that it's not just about funding people, but it's about making sure that these tax dollars are used in the most effective manner possible to educate the students of Wake County. And we have to do that through a lens and a way that we train you, as I learned with that $10 million in training funds that we use for professional development. And we have to make sure that our teachers understand that they have to be trained to help students. That's all I'm going to say. Equity affairs.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. Other comments about the budget? Mr. Swanson.
Thank you. And I also want to say thank you to Mr. Nieder, Ms. Kimsey, Ms. Posey, and all those who were involved with this, with the budget. And thank you, Dr. Taylor, for being open to allowing the board to make edits to your budget to meet the needs of our staff. So thank you for being gracious about that. And I also want to thank our commissioners who in the past have stood in the gap between us and the state to make sure that we recruit, retain, and keep our educators in this county. And so I thank them for their partnership and their investment. And I know from an economic standpoint that we can't have a strong economic community and business community if we do not have a strong and thriving school system. And that is why, in my opinion, I believe we're seeing great businesses come to Wake County because of the amazing schools that we have, the amazing staff that we have, and we had a reason tonight to see all the greatness that is happening with all of our magnet schools, not just our magnet schools, but all of our schools that do not have magnet status, that is also doing the good work as well, as Ms. Rice has mentioned. So I understand that this may be a tax burden to the community, but when we have a legislative body who is not necessarily fulfilling their duties and not necessarily prioritizing our schools, and especially our teachers, I think that is a problem. I think that's where we can be leaders and showing not just Wake County, but others, how we step up and fill the gap, and as a partnership. And I think that we in Wake have a great partnership with our commissioners, and I look forward to their support and their dialogue, and wish them well as they go through their budget and their public comments as well. And so I think that, again, I'm just grateful and thankful for you all's work, the great conversation we had at this board, and I do believe that we hear a lot about taxpayers saying about we hear a lot of comments about taxpayer dollars going to different things, but I don't hear a lot of concern about taxpayer dollars going to scholarships that may or may not be able to give the same outcome as our public schools. And so I will just be mindful of that, and also just encouraging folks to continue your advocacy and make sure that you reach out to those who need to be reached out, that do not sit at this seat or at the county commissioners, but sit on Jones Street, that has the true power that can make things work.
Thank you, Mr. Swanson. Final comment? Ms. Mahaffey?
I don't have much to add. Just thank you to our staff for providing this document, making sure that folks who are not financial experts not only understand this, but don't feel stupid looking at those things. And Ms. Kimsey, I thank you every year for making me understand this budget for the past 8 years. Your ability to translate your financial genius into everyone being able to understand this is always greatly appreciated. I always feel like this is like every year it's the "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope" message to the commissioners. And it'd be really nice if sometime we didn't have to do that and we could look at state income taxes to fund things. I know we talked about the Leandra, what is it, $400-something million that could help close that gap. But and many thank you to the residents of Wake County for continuing to vote for folks that not only care about public education while their kids are in our schools, but once your kids are out. We know not every person that votes has kids in public school, but we hear how much they care and value public schools, and that's huge. So just thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mahaffey. Vice Chair Johnson-Hostler?
Thank you very much. Again, I can't express enough my appreciation for our staff, and certainly Mr. Nieder, Ms. Kimsey, Ms. Posey, but I also know that our chiefs are also on duty all the time and working on this budget. And thank you, Dr. Taylor, you survived your first budget. So congratulations to you. And I will also share something with you that someone said to me, and I certainly think is applicable to you. I had a colleague say to me, "I can't believe 20 years later you still lead with your heart and not your head." Most leaders switch to the head when work is hard. And it is clear to me that over 30 plus years as an educator, as a teacher, as you so remind us, that you are still leading with your heart. And I think that's important, especially because this is my last board budget in this role. And what I said 10 and a half years ago still stands true today. I'd be remiss to not remind you all. I can still say one thing. My husband is an educator. I've never hidden that I lead with my heart every single day with every single budget because it directly impacts my household. And to be clear, he's a teacher and I am not. Therefore, we already know how this impacts my household. But I've also joined the ranks of being a part of the 70% of Wake County residents who no longer has a child in our district. And so being on that side is a reminder that certainly our community continues to shoulder the tax burden, and a reminder that our educators are also a part of our community shouldering the tax burden. And I think that's a part of the conversation that I don't hear expressed enough. And so my leveling up back to you all is to articulate that to legislators. They often hear us make the ask, but do not completely understand how you're making the ask. So when you ask people for something, it is important to note that you are asking the same thing of yourselves. Your employees, your homeowners, your taxpayers, all of those things, not are not just that you're an educator in our district, but you are also a part of our entire ecosystem that makes the determination of how we pay our educators. And so that's my level up to you all from Dr. Taylor. I'll keep stealing that. Those are ways that we have to talk to elected officials. It is just like your pedagogy and education, you need a different strategy for every audience. The strategy for Jones Street is not the strategy you use with us or our commissioners. You already sold us all. And you've actually sold most of your delegation in Wake County. And so it is a reminder that I'm also sharing with you to share with your colleagues of the importance of what education means in this state, and also a reminder that most of those elected officials who are currently sitting in those seats were educated in in North Carolina public schools that are voting to remove kids from our public schools. So just a little nudge of a reminder of their experience that landed them in very prestigious roles, and leadership in a state is based on those of us who attended public schools in the state. And I think that's a conversation we often don't have with elected officials either, is how so we talk about how we get our students, and we are the economic engine, but they are also beneficiaries of our education system who are the economic engine. And as educators always say, you make all of the rest of our careers possible, and that is certainly true for elected officials as well. So thank you for your continued advocacy, the work that you do in your classrooms, and of course, I will continue to push you down to Jones Street in a way that really speaks to what their role is, right? Their role is not individual. So my job, my professional career, we talk a lot about social determinants of health. They understand that if we do not have sound, very well-funded public schools, that we also are impacting our local communities in multiple ways. And so those are the things that elected officials on Jones Street can't hear, because their job is to ensure that our state runs effectively, including our public schools. So I look forward to not only, as you've asked us, to continue to advocate with our commissioners, which all of us will do, but we will also be joining you in advocating with our elected officials on Jones Street for the long haul, because I think you all know this without a shadow of a doubt. This is just a pebble in the pond, and we have a long way to go.
Thank you, Vice Chair Johnson-Hassler. There's really not much more to add to that. You know, we know that public schools are one of the greatest tools for economic mobility that we have. And when public schools suffer, communities, their economies suffer. We've seen that throughout our state. You know, we know that a lot of the success of this state was built on strong public schools, public community colleges, and public universities. And I'm just hoping that we can all come together and let folks realize that again. We're now at the point where we need to take a vote. So again, I will go by roll call. We'll start with Mr. Hershey.
Aye.
Dr. Ng.
Aye.
Ms. Edmonds.
Aye.
Ms. Mahaffey.
Aye.
The chair votes aye. Vice Chair Johnson-Hassler.
Aye.
Mr. Swanson.
Aye.
Ms. Caulfield.
Aye.
And Ms. Rice.
Aye.
There you have it. By a 9-0 vote, the board's proposed budget has now become the board's budget. I see a motion from Mr. Swanson, from Mr. Hershey. But it has been enrolled and it has passed. Thank you all. Mr. Hershey, I believe you have a motion.
Thank you, and before I get to the motion, I apologize to Ms. Allen because this is wordy, and also a shout out to the flag football parents that reached out. I forgot them. I make a motion that staff take the necessary steps to get completed an independent organizational study to review central office staff levels and an independent market salary compensation comparison study, and to report back to the board the results of those studies.
Is there a second?
Second.
I heard a second from Ms. Caulfield. Is there discussion? Comment? Ms. Rice?
Yes, I just want to ask just a question or two, Sam, so I understand where we are. You're asking for an independent study in reference to the salaries and in reference to, I mean, the last
The
part.
staffing levels
The
within
staffing,
the organization,
okay.
specifically central service.
Okay, and we want to pay an outside study person to do this. And do we not have some of these same resources within our budgeting offices to actually conduct some of this. And I say that with let me tell you why I'm saying this. And I know we always go to outside people, but the thing that I'm challenged with Wake County from over the years of watching this, one as a student from Wake County who had children in Wake County and now who has a grandchild in Wake County, and as an advocate of Wake County schools. When I advocated in the East for Wake County schools, of what I as an advocate saw, as what I as an advocate communicated in and found resources within our own district, with district staff asking specific questions around education and excellence and things of that nature, and the challenges of what was happening in that region and district in the East, which was District 1 schools. I watched Wake County go and get an outside person to do the study, to come back and tell us the same exact thing that this board member currently told you every week, was on the front page of the News and Observer every other week, came back with the same challenges and the same issues that I advocated for, that I told us that we had, and that was going on within our district. The same information that we paid over $100,000 for someone to do a study about something we as a district already knew. And so I'm just saying, I'm not saying that we don't need it, but what I'm saying, sometimes before we, and I could be well off in what I'm saying, and I'm okay for the discussion, but what I'm concerned with is that oftentimes things that we can do within our own district that are fair, we pay these people to do a salary and a job that we need them to do. But we constantly keep getting these consultants and outside people to pay enormous amounts of money that we can use within our own district. So what does it say to our people who do this job and who were hired to do these audits, to do these actual things within our system, that we don't use them and we save money? But we keep I see this a lot. I've seen it over the course of the years. I'm welcome for someone to share me a different perspective. But what I want to caution is, why can't we utilize our own internal things first, using the board with asking key questions, key leaders asking key questions, to figure out where we are first before we go off and pay someone hundreds of thousands of dollars that don't really know or have a broad understanding of what districts look like or whatever as a whole, to some degree, when we look at audit and the effectiveness. But I do understand we're talking about salaries in comparison, but I'm just questioning. We're paying people, we just voted on a budget. Are we saying that there is no one in our organization that knows how to do that particular work and still be equitable or still be fair in reference to it? And I get it, but I just wanted to say that, and I know people have rebut, but I'm just asking a question.
And Ms. Rice, I think it's always good to ask that question, because we can see throughout any organization, sometimes people will go out and privatize a service that maybe could be done internally. I think in this case, it's important to distinguish that when we talk about an audit and a study, we're not talking about the kind of financial auditing that we do in-house already. To answer the question directly, we are talking about and going out and finding an expert to provide a service which we cannot provide internally, in terms of the expertise to go out to. We don't have anybody on staff who is an expert in comparative salaries of both educators and other school districts, and then comparing educators to other professions that might have similar backgrounds, or other professionals on the district staff comparing what we might pay a boiler or chiller technician compared to what other government agencies might pay someone for that position, or what the private sector might pay for that position. And this is something that, rather than duplicating or replacing a function that we have in-house, I believe, and I'll turn to Mr. Nieder, this is something that our internal staff has looked at, studied, and evaluated, and I believe is recommending as a service outside their expertise, which could provide a lot of have valuable feedback to us in our decision-making. So I'll ask David and Mr. Nieder if that assumption is correct or incorrect, and let him expound on that, and then I have a follow-up.
Yes, Chair Haggerty, I believe what you've just shared is spot on. Understand your concerns, Ms. Rice, but I would echo that I do not believe that we have staff that are expert in doing these comparative studies. I think we have staff that are expert, but not in that particular area, and really two different areas. Number one, being able to look at our central office structure, both the structure and the numbers of staff, and see if that compares to what peer districts look like and what a good standard looks like, and determine, are we staffed at adequate levels? Are we understaffed? Are we overstaffed? In some areas it might be one, and in different parts of the organization it might be another. But we do not have staff expert in conducting those studies. There are organizations out there, I can think of several, that's what they do for a living. That is not what we do for a living. Similarly, similar response to looking at, as you said, Chair Haggerty, looking at market comparisons for compensation within both peer districts, but even for our non-teaching jobs, looking at other government agencies and looking even at the private sector.
Thank you, Mr. Nieder. And then just the second point is there's an additional added value that, yes, we are paying for, but that comes from an independent assessment and evaluation. Just like we know we have wonderful magnet schools, as we heard about tonight, having a third party, an independent third party, evaluate them, compare them, and then give us the results that they were some of the best schools in America. The schools themselves haven't changed what they did, but it means more to more people when it's not just us saying how great they are. Like we all say our kids are great as parents, right? But it's always better when we hear that feedback from others about, the stories about how when your child has shown kindness and another parent comes and tells you and shows you. It's always good to have that independent accountability, that independent source out there to avoid confirmation bias. And when we take this information, its value as we look to go to make changes. If the changes they suggest are hard for us, it's going to reinforce the need to make those changes when we have the confirmation that someone else has also looked at it, evaluated it, and recommended it. Or if we are doing good things, rather than just saying, well, we knew they were good, having that extra added layer of confirmation helps us to make those decisions with confidence. And that's how I see it. I know I saw some other hands around the table. I think I saw Mr. Hershey, then Ms. Caulfield, then Ms. Edmonds, then Mr. Swanson, then Dr. Ing.
I'll be quick. I don't necessarily disagree, and I think I certainly have an opinion what these studies will show. But for me, as we evaluate the organization, as we make bigger asks to the commissioners, I would like to have that information to say, here's why we're making these asks. And do I agree with the, people say, oh, we're bloated in these areas, or we pay, you hear that sometimes. I don't necessarily agree with that, but this provides it doesn't matter what I think, this will provide us exactly the answers that we are seeking, and it is in response to constituents who think that, because they are constituents. It is taxpayer money, so it shows us being responsible. I think it's a good practice for an organization of this size every decade, not an every other year thing, but every 10 years. And I think they did one about 12 years ago, so it is about that time. And again, I don't necessarily disagree. I think I know where it will end up, but I still think it's valuable for us to be able to present to commissioners and to constituents.
Thank you, Mr. Hershey. Ms. Caulfield?
Yes, and thank you. I believe that I agree with you as well, and that is one of the things that I was thinking about in the beginning is why couldn't we just evaluate this ourselves? But reflecting on that thought, how do we go back and break it down if this is what we've always been doing, or this is how we're working, it's a little bit hard to reflect on your own work, your own numbers and everything, if you've kind of been in it and living it. So I feel like having an outside source that is actually reflecting on our system, especially this size, would give us more information. And I do agree that it's good practice just for us to show to our constituents that we are taking a look at it. We are making sure that we're doing the right thing with the numbers. I'm not sure that I'm really thinking that our salaries are going to be off. I mean, just the organizational chart was a little hard to piece together, and just trying to understand our structure. I think for me that's going to give a lot of clarity. But I also don't want it to rule out conversation. Just because we have a third party that's going to be doing this, I think it should be something that we're using to reflect on and open good conversation, that in turn will be the conversation we have that makes the movement. So that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Caulfield. Ms. Edmonds?
Yeah, just for process, when we find a vendor or what have you, there will be a contract that'll come back to us, right, to approve. Even if it's on consent, we'll see how much the person, business is going to charge us to do this. So we'll have another opportunity to look at it before we actually give the thumbs up. Is that correct?
That is correct, Ms. Edmonds, and we will put a request for proposal out for two different proposals, one for looking at the salary comparison, another for the organizational audit study. It's possible there is one organization that does both, but generally our experience has been there are organizations that focus on doing the compensation studies and nothing more than that, and others that look at the organizational audits. And especially on the organizational audit side, they have to have expertise in K-12 education. You couldn't begin to compare a central office of a large school public education organization to something in another type of government entity, let's say county government, or even in the private sector. And yes, back to your point, we'll issue RFPs, we'll have teams that review them. That's to both ensure we believe we are going to be getting the best possible review on both these reviews, as well as the best possible pricing, or find a value in between. And they will come back to the board, and as we deem appropriate, we can even bring them to work session.
Thank you. Mr. Swanson?
Thank you. Ms. Edmonds touched on one of my questions. I was going to remind my colleagues of our policies, how we bid and award contracts. Everything is approved by the board. And I am reminded of the words that Dr. Bridges said when he said in that same seat that if the changes are happening much quicker on the outside of our organization than it is in the inside of our organization, then we are in danger. And so I always think it's a great idea to reevaluate, reimagine what we want to do, not just for the current moment, but for the future. And I also believe I've heard the word transparency come up quite a bit. So if we want to do our own evaluation, which I'm not saying we couldn't, it's not very transparent, which is a word that keeps coming up often. So I am in support of us beating this out, and I have to respectfully disagree with my colleague about trying to do it in-house, because that's not transparent in my opinion. That's not giving the taxpayers a good view of seeing what we're doing with their dollars and how we can do things better. And so I look forward to this, and thank you, Mr. Hershey, for pushing this motion. I look forward to supporting it.
Thank you. Dr. Ng?
Yeah, and we talked about confirmation bias, and I think all of us have internally had some kind of bias one way or another regarding how we feel about this. And so I welcome the evaluation, the study, the audit. My sister is actually retired from the IRS as an auditor. And not to say that she's going to do this, but but exactly. But the way she does things, and she's always been the hated person, going into the corporation to do audit. But what comes out of it is a constructive criticism and some improvements that can be made to the organization, to the structure, and so it's not meant to be punitive whatsoever. I think it's really supposed to be constructive and to make our system work better. So.
All right, thank you. All right. Did you?
Chair Haggerty, I have a
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
I did, Mr. Hershey, in your motion, I do remember us having conversation about it being done before next budget season.
Mr. Hershey, do you want to address that?
Yeah, and Mr. Nieder can weigh in, but we discussed it, and what we didn't want to do, that's the goal. And we believe that organizational one will be done faster, but we didn't want to put a date in there that precluded somebody from making a bid to win the contract. So we had that discussion. There is an understanding, and I'm happy you raised that, because we can create the expectation here right now without putting it in the motion that we want this as soon as possible, and the expectation is, especially the organizational one, before the budget. And I think Mr. Nieder said he hopes, I don't want to put words into your mouth, so.
No, I'll share. It is likely that the study of the organizational central office, and I'm going to use the word study as opposed to audit. And I've seen, when I'm reminded when Dr. Ng said, he's got a member of the family who's an auditor. Well, it's like I've got a friend who's an attorney, or I've got a friend who's a doctor, or I've got a friend who's a CPA. But within those different professions, there are a myriad of different specialties. And a doctor is not a doctor, an attorney is not an attorney, a CPA is not a CPA, and an auditor is not an auditor. So I would just perhaps share with the board that I would look at these as studies, even though sometimes they are referred to as audits. And they're done by third parties, as you all have discussed, that this is what they do for a living, and they do bring the credibility of an outside lens, an unbiased opinion. And with that said, it's likely that the organizational study will take less elapsed time than the compensation study, perhaps significantly less time.
I would just hope that the study could come before our next budget cycle, so that we're not waiting yet another year after we evaluate it. So that's my concern.
Thank you. Dr. Taylor, I know you had a final comment?
Yes, I just want to say to everyone that Wake County Public Schools has been through a tremendous change over the last decade. We're the 15th largest district in the nation, and I expect that to continue to grow and us to continue to get larger. And so I think it's very important that we do have someone to look at our organization from that perspective. What I already know is that the structure is not what it needs to be, but we certainly need to do some reorganization as well in terms of what might be bloated, what may not be large enough. And I think that transparency that we create when we share with our public, and I've talked about this with them on numerous occasions, that this is the kind of thing that we need to do in order to know how to remake and restructure our organization, because again, it is about being a model and not just being something that's put together. So we are going through a tremendous amount of change, and whatever comes out of this, we're talking about a structure that's going to be around for a long time to come after we've all left. So we want to make sure that we do it right and have that external view as well.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor. All right, at this point, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. Thank you. At this point on the agenda, we would move into we would return to closed session for the statutory reasons cited previously. Ms. Mahaffey. Oh, yeah, before we go in, let's go ahead and approve the HR recommendations and administrative appointments. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion for Ms. Mahaffey, second for Mr. Swanson. All in favor of approval of those administrative appointments and HR recommendations signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Before we move into closed session, I have to let you all know I will not be able to join you, but in order to reward you for all of your hard work, in the style of one of my heroes, Mr. Coach Kevin Keats, You all have ice cream waiting for you in the back in the freezer, so enjoy it. Job well done. Is there a motion to return to closed session for those statutory reasons?
Second.
And I heard Ms. Mahaffey, a second from Mr. Swanson. All in favor? We now return to closed session. Thank you very much.